What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and the Fed just hiked interest rates another 75 basis points. And in this video, I'm gonna explain what that means, how it's going to affect you and me, and what you need to do to make sure you don't end up absolutely screwed. I also want to make sure that you know that there are gonna be massive winners and losers as we go through all of these changes with these interest rate hikes, and we need to talk about what you need to do to make sure you're the right one. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, I've been investing in real estate for the last 9 years. I currently own 180 units of residential real estate, some storage units, and almost all of these properties are owned with some form of financing. So when it comes to interest rates, I care. Now, the Federal Reserve and the interest rate they're raising doesn't exactly correlate with the interest rates that you're going to get on your single family homes or your rental properties, but it does affect it and it does correlate, which means interest rates on literally everything are going up. This new hike brings the central bank's benchmark interest rate to a new range of 3 to 3.25. This is the highest level since 2008 from the current range of 2.25 to 2.5. What this means is it's a big deal. Now, just to give you a quick explanation, I know a lot of people are saying, well, why is the Fed doing this? If we know it's bad, why are we doing it? Well, you're fighting two evils. Your first evil is inflation, and your other evil is high interest rates. And it's kind of tricky because you don't want inflation and you don't want high interest rates, but you kind of have to have some give and take with both. And unfortunately, because of government spending and a myriad of other things, inflation has gone absolutely crazy, to the point where the majority of Americans are really feeling the pinch. The cost of literally everything has gone way up, and this is something that the Fed is really trying to slow down. They like to stay right around 2% if they can, and they've not been anywhere close. The whole point of increasing interest rates is to hopefully slow down everything, and that will hopefully bring the prices of things back to a normal range, especially when it comes to things like housing and all your basic necessities. So the Fed has increased interest rates, yet it's taking a while for it to respond. We don't know how quickly it will respond or how drastically it will respond, but I can say the measures they've taken with how quick these interest rates have been increased are pretty crazy. And so I have to believe we're not just going to see a leveling, but a real correction. And I don't think that I'm the only one that feels that way. As a matter of fact, let's listen to the guy that's kind of in charge of all this.
When I say reset, I'm not looking at a particular specific, set of data or anything. What I'm really saying is that we've had a time of a red hot housing market all over the country.
Okay, so first off, he used the word reset. That's always a little scary.
There was a big imbalance between supply and demand. Housing prices were going up at an unsustainably fast level. So the deceleration in housing prices that we're seeing should help bring sort of prices more closely in line with rents and other housing market fundamentals. And that's a good thing. For the longer term, what we need is supply and demand to get better aligned so that housing prices go up at a reasonable level, at a reasonable pace, and that people can afford houses again. And I think we probably in the housing market have to go through a correction to get back to that place.
Whoa! If you've been following this, I think everyone wants to stay away from correction, recession, any of those words that don't sound super fun. But this is very telling in that they are continuing to crank interest rates because they know inflation is out of hand. Now, in the past, they've said it's transitory, we don't need to worry about it. They've reached a point where they're saying, no, this inflation is bad and we have to do something quickly and we have to get this to correct. If you were wondering if there's going to be a correction in the real estate market, I think this is a guy you could probably trust on his word on this. I think it's gonna happen. Actually, I know it's going to happen. It's just how bad is it going to be? Because the measures they've taken with how quickly they've increased interest rates are absolutely insane.
There are also longer run issues though with the housing market. As you know, it's difficult to find lots now close enough to cities and things like that. So builders are having a hard time getting zoning and lots and workers and materials and things like that. But from a sort of business cycle standpoint, this difficult correction should put the housing market back into better balance.
This little section right here reminded me of an experience I had with my son a couple days ago where I took him in for his shots and I didn't say, hey, it's gonna be fun, hey, it's gonna be easy, hey, it's gonna be awesome. I said, they're about to shove a needle into your skin. It's not gonna be super comfortable. You're probably gonna cry, but we're gonna get through it.
I think that shelter inflation is going to remain high for some time. We're looking for it to come down, but it's not exactly clear when that will happen. So it may take some time. So I think hope for the best, plan for the worst. So I think on shelter inflation, you've just got to assume that it's going to remain pretty high for a while.
Now, here's my worry with this last part. We all know that when it comes to housing, whether it's rents, whether it's purchasing homes, whatever it is, prices are crazy. And really, with what the Fed has done, they've made them way, way crazier. Now, the whole goal is to make it so that housing is affordable, but for anyone that was wanting to buy a house, they watched, the market on a lot of these homes go up 10, 15, 20% year after year after year. And now we've hit where the price is here on housing, where it's absolutely asinine. Like, it's crazy how quickly it's gone up. And they said, we want to help these people. And so in order to help these people, we're going to jack interest rates. So now their monthly payment is going to be double what it would have been with already crazy housing prices. It's kind of a weird way to go about things, but I understand why they're doing it. My only point is when you go through situations like this where you say, holy crap, one of these is out of hand, inflation's gone wild, we've got to pump interest rates. The problem in my mind is they waited way too long to adjust interest rates, and now they've adjusted them so drastically that we've been in a good place, but there's no way there can't be a massive correction. The other thing that's scary is they're looking at these reports, but it's going to take a while before they see what they need to see to then drop things back down. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they'll adjust quickly, but either way, they've had such aggressive action that things are going to go cold very, very fast. And we're already starting to see that across the country. So now that we've covered that, there are a couple things I want to talk about because this is going to affect lots of different facets of your financial life. And the problem with changes that are so drastic like these interest rate increases is there are going to be very big winners and losers depending on what you do. With these higher interest rates, that's going to drastically slow down all businesses, even the very large businesses, because they thrive off of borrowing money to grow their business. So a lot of your retirement accounts that are in certain stocks, those businesses are gonna take a hit and you're gonna watch the stock market take a hit, which unfortunately we've already seen a lot of that come into play. So I think we're gonna see a lot of small and even big businesses that were surviving because they could borrow cheap debt. And now that they're not able to, their business is really going to struggle, if not go under. We will definitely see a lot of businesses tank, and we're headed into that time period where individuals, businesses, and everybody involved, a lot of people are gonna get screwed and a lot of people are gonna end up with empty pockets through this situation. Last but not least, this will impact the job market. You're gonna see a lot of people lose their jobs because a lot of businesses are going to decide to cut back. It's the only thing that they can do, and it's usually what they do when they start to struggle. Now, not every business, but I would say the majority of businesses are going to have some cuts, and unfortunately, that might affect you and your job. So make sure you keep your head on a swivel.
I'm proud of you fellas. You all kept your head on a swivel.
And that your eyes are open when it comes to your job and your situation. This is why I also tell people, make sure you've got at least 6 months reserves for you and for any rental properties you have, and preferably a year. And right now, I'd say it's probably too little too late, but anything you can do to stack cash, now is the time to do it because things are going to get interesting. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, all right, you've made this sound really scary and really bad. What do we do? Biggest thing, hopefully you've set aside reserves and you've got all of your affairs in order where you can survive if you lose your job or if things go south or if your rentals don't cash flow or whatever it may be, so that you're in a comfortable place. Hopefully any rental properties you bought them with massive cash flow, so if you do need to eat into that, you're good. Hopefully you got good interest rates locked for extended periods of time, because I'm guessing it's gonna be it's gonna be a while before interest rates come back down, if they do. Do whatever you can to secure your job, and if you're not sure that it's secure, make sure that you're looking into other options so that you can have your butt covered. You're gonna wanna do all of the things to make sure you and yours are protected and safe and ready to roll through hard economic times. Now, I don't wanna just be a doomsdayer, but that part of this is very important. The next part that's important, get creative. With these drastic changes, there are so many different opportunities to capitalize. When interest rates go crazy, I'm telling you, there are lots of ways for you to win. One example of this is with interest rates going nuts, there are lots of people that own properties that they were planning on selling, or they need to sell, or they want to sell, or they have to sell, that have a fixed rate for 30 years that is great, where their property makes a lot of sense so that they could sell it and still sell for a profit, or at least break even with what they owe and be in a great place if they could transfer that loan to someone else. And there are lots of different ways to be able to do this. One of these is purchasing properties subject to. Now, this is something that I've not had a lot of experience with because I haven't needed it, because I've been able to get incredible interest rates from my bank. And so usually I want to purchase it that way. Or, the seller has paid off the property, and so I'll do some kind of seller financing deals. I think a lot of those deals are still going to be great, and you're going to be able to find them. But I do think starting to use subject to is going to be big, because a lot of people want to sell their property, and the only way that makes sense is if they can transfer that loan from them to you. Now, I'm not going to be able to teach you how to do that in this video, and I'm going to be honest in saying I'm a newbie to this stuff, but I've got one of these deals in the works right now. This is just one of many ways that you can capitalize. So if I was you, I would step back and say, all right, what are the pros and cons of my current situation? And what is the best way that I can look ahead and say, all right, interest rates are going to go wild. This means that this, and this will most likely be impacted. So if those are impacted, and I think that housing is going to drop, I think that it's going to be hard to find a way to make the numbers work on rental properties. I think that it's going to be hard to borrow money to do what I've been doing with my business. How can I re-look at things knowing interest rates are higher and use it to my advantage? And if I was you, that's what I'd be doing, because that's what I am doing. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the future videos, because we are going to dive into this stuff a lot. And I know there's a lot of fear in the market, but I can tell you, I'm extremely excited about this, because back in 2008, I wasn't really old enough to be involved and really capitalize on a scary down market. And the thing you need to remember is things go up and things go down. They're good, they're bad, but you need to keep your confidence and find a way that you can win through the good and through the bad. And if you have that mindset, you're gonna be great. So with all of that being said, have a great day.